So, what's the average cost of probate in Arizona? Ugh. Ugh. There's two kinds of probates you need to know about. There are two. Well, there's lots of different kinds, but there's two different big kinds. The first one is one we all know about, what happens after we pass away. It's not all protected from probate. Average cost there probably around ten to $15,000, about 12 months long. That's if it's relatively simple. There's not a lot of assets. There's not a lot of complexity. There's not a lot of beneficiaries. It's pretty straightforward. And I know what you're thinking. Yeah, mine's straightforward. Nothing straightforward in probate. So, but think about that. If it's more complex, I mean, we've had some get to 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 grand, 200 grand. I mean, if it gets really messy, it can get very expensive very quickly. The probate most people don't know about is while we're alive. So we're alive. If we become incapacitated and we don't have our stuff arranged, we don't have a power of attorney that's recent, we don't have a trust that's been funded, we don't have a healthcare directive, a mental health care directive, the living will. If we don't have all this stuff in place while we're alive, even a spouse doesn't have the default button. You got to have it in place for your spouse. So then what? Then you go to probate so your spouse can actually get the authority to access your IRA, your retirement account, your health insurance. If they need to sell the house because you're on there jointly, both of your names are on there, their name has to be signed too. But if they're incapacitated, they can't sign. So you got to probate while we're alive. How much do those cost? Those are really expensive. Those are more expensive. Average there is about $20,000 to $25,000. Any little tiny thing that's not perfectly in order, and that's just so hard to predict. But I mean, they can go from being a $20,000 fee in probate to a 50, 80, $100,000 fees, because what you're doing is you're actually basically saying, we have to make my mom a ward of the state, or my husband or my wife a ward of the state. And as soon as the state is involved, guess what? They can basically do whatever they want. They can appoint a guardian ad litem. They can appoint an accountant, a doctor, physician, an investigator. And guess who pays for all of those people? You. Probate during life's really expensive, but that's the average cost for both of those kinds of probates.